If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Try Jesus, he's alright. Try Jesus, he's alright. Try Jesus, I know he's alright. 'Cause I done tried him, man. He's alright. I could probably go on and on and on, but I'm gonna go ahead and get things going with the juice. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your needles of inspiration, the juice. It is October the 7th, 2023, and today the topic is Get to Know Me. Happy Saturday, y'all. Happy Saturday. And happy birthday eve to my son. Yes, his birthday is tomorrow and everything like that. I hope that you guys had a fabulous Friday. Mine was just fine, man. Mine was just fine. Thank you to those of you all that were showing love yesterday for my announcement about the most recent blessing that the Lord has given upon me. And that is, of course, none other than the release of my first film that I wrote, produced, directed, and co-starred in. The Cast movie. Thank you so much for that. I had some time yesterday, actually. That last thing that the Lord left me with when I did the juice yesterday really just stuck out to me. And that was that whole 2x2 thing. And just really acknowledging, like, look what the Lord did with just two. And so I guess, with that being said, I mean, those things was on my heart and mind, obviously, this morning. Again, I think I'm still processing it, taking it step by step, time by time, day by day. But overall, I'm just grateful, man. Like I told you guys yesterday, I'm grateful to just see this project come to fruition. Again, it's been 11 years for me, because that's back when I wrote it. And then 2017 crossover to 2018 is when we filmed it. And so to finally see it to the place where it is today, out streaming, people are watching. I heard a couple of people say that they've already watched and things of that nature. I haven't heard the feedback personally yet, but the feedback I did hear, that people found it funny and things like that. And so I'm grateful, man. I'm just super grateful to be here in this place and everything. And so this morning, the Lord woke me up around 1 something. I did make a note of it. I went and looked up everything and whatnot as well. But I would say that today's juice was inspired by the Soul Space app, the prayer meditation that I listened to this morning. First of all, it spoke volumes. I feel like, dang, I forgot to tell y'all about yesterday outside of the movie. I mean, some other stuff happened too. I guess if you care about my day, then I'll tell y'all the rest of that stuff later, because let's go ahead and get to the juice. So, like I was saying, my inspiration this morning for the juice came from what I listened to with the Soul Space app. And as soon as I turned the app on, the first thing that I saw said, God is a creative genius. Your life is proof. And I was like, you know what? Amen. Okay. I was like, you right, Lord. You right. So before I even listened to the prayer meditation, I already received the word just by looking at the little image. And I shared it on our social media. Well, no, actually, I shared it on my social media, on my Actress Miracle Sims Facebook. But anyway, so then I listened and everything like that. And as I was listening, I would say that I just pretty much was just thinking about the magnitude of God, thinking about how great he is. Obviously, it was pointing out all these different things that he created. And it's like, man, that is on a whole nother level. And I know that like, for example, I have a great appreciation for artists and people that like create. I like to think that I'm an artist, you know, in some ways, but at the same time, you know, people that actually take time to sculpt or take time to paint or things like that. I have a great appreciation for people like that. But the interesting thing is, it's like, for whatever reason, the one who created it all, we ignore. The one who created even us, we seem to just forget about. And so basically, after I listened to the prayer meditation, I just pretty much was thinking about that. And I would say, again, that was the inspiration for me to kind of go deeper about that idea. And so, you know, I ended up looking up a lot of different things. There's several articles that are, you know, in the Go Deeper section. Yes, featured from gotquestions.org and everything like that. And yeah, there's like 3 different articles there that I, you know, took a look at. One of them was, what does it mean to in all your ways acknowledge him? The other one I looked at was saying, why is seeking God important? And then another one I ended up putting on the Go Deeper section as well, is asking the question, why is God so different in the Old Testament than he is in the New? So yeah, I was just reflecting on all these different things and looking into these different articles and seeing things that it had to say. Now, for the record, I want to say this about gotquestions.org, okay? I'm not saying that gotquestions.org is the Bible. I'm just saying that it's a nice resource to try to answer some questions and, you know, perhaps give you some things to think about when it comes to your questions about the Bible. So, you know, again, just like everything else, you know, take it with a grain of salt. You know, again, the meat and the bones and all that type of stuff when it comes to any type of resource that people share. Because again, you know, it's just one of those things. You know, obviously, well, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of went deeper even about that idea today, because I was like, you know what, Lord, even as I was writing down verses and stuff, I just was like, you know, I know I've experienced you, right? And I see you working in my life, and I can acknowledge all the great, again, wonderful things that God has created and he's done and things like that. But there is still that question of like, well, is it true? Is it not true? Is the Bible true? Is it not true? Like, yeah, all these things are still valid questions to us today. And I was kind of thinking about those biblical figures that we read about, or the ones that wrote, you know, the Bible and things like that. And it's like, you know, the one thing about them is that, well, one, they had some time with God one-on-one, because we believe that Jesus was God in the flesh. So they had time with God personally, in their face like that. And then, you know, obviously they were closer to even receive the information that they received, because us today, again, we're so distracted by, you know, everything that, yeah, you know, everything becomes a question, or everything becomes like, well, like, even today, as I was writing down verses, it blew my mind. By the time I got to the Bible verse of today, it blew my mind. But even in the back of my mind, I was wondering, well, did I actually see that somewhere else, or, you know, and things like that. So a lot of times we can live something and experience something and still questioning, are we living and experiencing and seeing and feeling and doing what we experience? And it's just such a weird thing, actually, you know, because then you hear people talk about that, oh, we're not really even living in real life. We're in the Matrix, and, you know, we're probably all in like soup somewhere or something. Like, you know, it's just, I mean, and then you start to question reality. You know, you're like, you know, is this real? Is it not real? You know, there could be all the questions. But anywho, ultimately today, I was just pretty much led to just focus on this idea of getting to know the Lord. I didn't have the title when I was, you know, thinking about these things, but as I started to write down, you know, my date and things like that, the phrase "get to know me" came into my heart and mind. And I said, okay, with that, I mean, if that's what you want me to call it, Lord, I'll call it "get to know me." I think I don't even know what I was going to call it before that came into my heart and mind, but yeah, "get to know me." And I feel like this is what God is asking us to do. He's asking us to get to know him. Again, reflecting on this morning, how creative and thing he is, it was a great and beautiful thing. And again, I'm sitting here a living witness, seeing God work in my life, and how different things have come together in such a beautiful way that can only be divine in my heart and mind. You know, I mean,
Yeah, okay, I might have did this or that, or yeah, okay, I might have met, for example, Kelvin years ago and all this different type of stuff, but I don't think anything could have told me when we first met that we will be here today. You know what I mean? And it's just so I can't take credit for things of that nature. I have to only give glory and honor to the Lord because that's where I believe those blessings and things came from. And so, but I know that can sound crazy, right, to those that either they don't believe or they don't want to believe or whatever the case may be. But for those that have that desire, right, to know the Lord, or those that have that desire to just truly understand, you know, him, his heart, everything, I guess. I mean, hopefully today that you will be encouraged and inspired to get to know him. As I was reading some of the different articles, one thing was pointed out, and it was talking about how none of us truly seek the Lord. And at first I'm like, well, here I am seeking the Lord, so how does that count, you know? But then the article started talking about, you know, the fact that, again, we all are so distracted, so we only really get a piece of God, you know? And even that question, that last article that I put in the Go Deeper section, the one that's saying, why is God so different under the Old Testament versus the New? That article is saying that that's pretty much a flawed idea and question, because at the end of the day, again, we're all just pretty much getting to know a piece of the Lord. We're not even really fully capable to really truly understand him at his, you know, entirety and magnitude, whatever the case may be. So, you know, we might think he's different or whatever, but it's, you only got this piece and then now you're seeing another piece, basically. So anyway, ultimately I felt led to write down this verse to start this conversation. And that is Psalm 34:8. It says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him." So, you know, I felt led to start with that verse, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. You know, taste and see that the Lord is good. You know, at the end of the day, like I was singing in my song just a moment ago, you know, I've tried Jesus, and I know he's all right. You know, at the end of the day, again, I can't, you know, I would not trade the peace, the joy, you know, and all the things that the Lord has blessed me with today. I would not trade those things to go back to the way I used to be and flying around and mentally and trying to figure out life. Like now, not to be like I'm not trying to figure out things today, but I'm not necessarily worried. You know what I mean? I'm over here like, Lord, whatever you want to do with me, for me, and through me, I am here and game to do. At the end of the day, I guess my trust and faith builds the more and more that, you know, not just what I see come to fruition, but like, I think the more I lay down, the more peace I have. And then when things get confirmed by the constant, you know, trust in him, I feel like I get confirmations that keep me going even further. And then right when I need, I guess, another confirmation, I get one, and that helps me to keep the motivation and everything like that. And so, again, I mean, we all can take a chance and taste and see. Like, I know some of us, you may have experienced church hurt, you may have experienced hurt in general. You may have experienced things that make you doubt and question, again, the God of the Bible and things. And you're like, I tried them already, you know, and it didn't work, or whatever the case may be. Now, if you got that type of mindset, that sounds like that might be a heart issue versus a God issue. And so you have to humble yourself. What I'm understanding is you have to humble yourself and submit to the Lord, you know, like, and then you'll actually see him working in your life, because it starts with the renewal of your heart and mind for you to even start to, again, acknowledge God and to truly understand him and get to know him. You know, you can't come into it with that mindset of, well, I did it already and then whatever, you know, or that bitter mindset, because at the end of the day, then you're not really truly submitting at that point. You know, you're just kind of like faking the funk, as they say, you know. Now, I mean, now if that the Lord uses that way to bring you closer, then by all means, everybody's, you know, path and whatnot is different. So I'm not going to say that God can't use that and bring you still closer. What I'm saying is, I think it might take you a little bit longer to get there, versus coming to it, you know, with an open mind to say, hey, I know I'm flawed. I know that I can't be the end all be all, and that I understand that there's a power higher than me. I understand that, there's other things in play beyond just what I could see or hear or feel, touch, whatever the case may be. And so I humbly submit and do my due diligence to study and seek and things of that nature. Like, that's a totally different mindset. Like, you're on your way to, again, renewing your heart and mind with that type of mindset versus the other. And again, I feel like those that have the other type of mindset, it kind of takes you a little bit longer to get to the place that I think you truly would want to be, if you are somebody, again, that are wanting to really get to know the Lord and want him to, and want to see the fruits and whatnot that he has for you in your life. So I got another verse, y'all. It is John 1:14. It says, "And the word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." Like I said earlier, man, and like, what an interesting and probably exciting thing it was for those individuals to interact with Jesus. Even when they did, they still didn't fully understand, everything that he was saying and teaching them and whatnot. And so that's even on a whole nother level, as well. But I mean, as I was writing this verse, of course, and this could be the enemy, I don't know. But anyway, as I was writing the verse, basically I was kind of getting those little things in my mind, like, well, who's to say that these people are telling the truth? Like, you know what I mean? Who's to say that, it happened, because, okay, there's nobody, but then, he's no longer here in X, Y, and Z. So, who's to say X, Y, and Z? And, all these different type of questions. And I get it. Hey, they're valid questions at the end of the day. And I can't sit here and say that I know the answers to the, X, Y, Z. All I can say is what I've experienced in my life. All I can say is my personal testimony of where my life was before Christ and where it is today. And that's all I could truly say about it. But I think it intrigues me to get to know God more and to get a better understanding. And maybe to even get the understanding that, again, our forefathers are those biblical figures that we're reading about, or, again, that we're reading from, what they had, because obviously they were able to tap into things on a whole nother level than us, and we're over here trying to figure out what they experience and what they're sharing. So that's one thing. I mean, I guess that kind of, like, keeps me, on this path, whatever the case may be. But I guess you guys have to figure out what that is for you at the end of the day. Like, I mean, are you going to be, again, the type of person that's just gonna, face everything and then just say, oh, I mean, if you're somebody, basically, if you don't want to believe, and you want to find excuses to not believe, then, I mean, you can do that because you got free will. But then that doesn't make what the Bible is saying not true just because you choose not to believe. And my whole thing, again, the whole 50-50 chance thing, at the end of the day, if it is true, then that means, like, everything matters. You know what I mean? That means we all have purpose. That means that, you may be falling short. We all seem to fall short. But, there is no, not say there's no grace for you. I hate to say it like that. But at the end, right, and if you leave this earth without making that decision, then yeah, at that point, my understanding is that there's nothing else, that you're going to be judged by the things, or you're going to be judged by Christ. And it's not even just like, I think when we hear that word judge, we think like, oh, the judgment or X, Y, and Z. But it's like judged by the life he lived and what he did, ultimately. It's like, he, in human form, he was able to live a sinless life, and he died for us, and in words, again, gospel message, right? None of us was able to do it. And the thing is, it's like going to be like a comparison. But what I'm understanding, I don't know, this just came out of nowhere. So I'm just telling y'all, it seems like what I'm hearing is this is going to be like a comparison. It's going to be your life versus his. And it's like, well, sinless life. And you chose not to believe. And so therefore you don't measure up because you didn't want the grace, the mercy, and the forgiveness and all the stuff that came with what he did. So again, we all got to go deeper. We all got to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. I'm not trying to, scare nobody or whatever the case may be, but it seems to be a very serious choice at the end of the day. So for me, I just continue to stay on this path because this is what I feel like the Lord want me to be. And I find so much more peace here than being on the other path. You guys can go deeper about all of this stuff on your own. I mean, there's plenty of verses in the go deeper section. Actually, there's a section that might be pulp, but I believe that it kind of shows us where we all probably are spiritually and whatnot. And because at the end of the day, again, as much as we try to deny God and deny that, we got all the questions of, people try to say God don't exist or try to say this or that, but then, again, you're looking in the mirror at yourself and you're like, you are a total individual being, unique, down to the fingerprints, they say, and all this different type of stuff, to where you can't even explain how you got here and how you're able to look at yourself in the mirror today. Like, it's just, it's just so much, not to say examples, but everything around us is a testament to God and his, again, creative genius, like the Soul Space was saying this morning. And so to look at all this and deny the creator is just, I mean, you can do it, but I mean, again, I guess with the creation, there's always, that means that there's a creator. If there's a building, that means somebody built it. I don't know what else to say with that. You guys, again, can go deeper about all of that. Plenty of verses. You guys can check out all those articles I told you guys that are at GodQuestions.org. That's ultimately the juice this morning. I feel like God is asking us to get to know him and everything like that. And if I needed confirmation, the Bible verse of today. Y'all, when I saw the Bible verse of today, I didn't fall out, but I just like, oh Lord, see? I guess we're doubling down here, because the Bible verse of today is the verse that he gave me to start with, and that is Psalm 34:8. I know y'all probably gonna be like, you looked at the Bible verse today. I promise I did not look at no Bible verse of today until after I got done writing down the verses that God gave me, and then writing down the go deeper section. Then I looked at the Bible verse of today, and it turned out to be the same thing, the same verse that I started with. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. So friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Everyone is stuck at home, but life is still happening around us every day. Birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and celebrations. Send your friends and family the gift of wine from the comforts of home. Wine shop at home with Miracle of Wine. Wine, gift baskets, wine accessories, and more at miracleofwine.com.